Hi, welcome to today's video. This week I'm going to be talking you through my pages from the last few days, and I'd also put out a bit of a poll on my Instagram stories, thinking about other things to include this week. I asked whether people would prefer a what's in my bag video or a what's in my sort of stim box, or I sometimes call it like my autistic first aid kit. Yeah, which of those two would be nice to see on a video. And most people actually said both, like include one this week and include one next week. So this week, as well as showing my pages, I'm going to show you what is in that stim box. I thought it would be a nice thing to do because I do talk quite a lot about the fact that I'm autistic and how my books help me, and the fact that I like commonplace about resources and you know, like research papers and stuff relating to neurodivergence. And you know, not everybody like stims in the same way or gets relief from the same things, but there's definitely like overlaps and definitely like experiences that a lot of us like. So if I can do anything that's gonna like help people in a similar boat to myself, and I know also like my ADHD friends often like a stim as well, then I just thought that might be a nice resource. Also, it also gives me an opportunity to kind of tidy it up a bit and think about, are there any gaps, or is there anything that maybe I've not used in a long time that I could rehome and give as a gift maybe to somebody. So yeah, that might not appeal to everybody, and that's fair enough. And if you just want to watch the journal pages, that's your prerogative. I don't really, not in a rude way, I don't really care. Like, watch watch or don't watch. Watch as much as you like, or you know, as little as you like. I make this stuff because I like talking about it and it's a good outlet for me. So we've got my 3 books. I'll just show you the stack just in case it's anyone's sort of first time watching. So we have, I feel like I've ordered that weird. We have at the top here a sort of A6 size lined notebook that I picked up at TK Maxx. That's my like everyday carry, very quick notes go in here. I've got a Hobonichi A6 avec, and that is like a daily journal entry and calendar and stuff like that. And then I've got a traveller's notebook sized insert, and this has like calendars and stuff like that in, but primarily it is my commonplace. Also, someone asked me a couple of weeks ago, I can't remember if it was on a video or they sent me a message, they asked whether or not I keep these inserts within like a traveller's notebook case or cover, and the answer to that is no, I just keep them loose. So as much as the traveller's notebook covers look really nice, and I really like how they kind of patina and scratch up in age, the inserts I've got here are something that I got on a bit of a whim, just for a bit of fun, and I'm not like fully committed to that system. The other factor is that I am also vegan, so generally speaking I avoid leather goods. It's something, again, I'm maybe getting a bit sidetracked, it's something that I think about a lot in terms of environmentally, depending on where it's sourced, leather is actually better. You know, a vegan leather is generally just plastic. So it's something I think about a lot. Some leather goods I own if they're like secondhand, but I don't feel comfortable buying new leather. It just doesn't sit right with me. So yeah, anyway, these are loose, and I'm not going to be continuing them on beyond next month because I bought 6 of them in the middle of the year, 1 for each month. I feel like I'm a bit rambly today. I don't know if I'll edit it out. I might keep it in because, you know, I mentioned I'm autistic. This is my way of thinking and speaking sometimes. So it's just I guess, authentic, isn't it? So we'll go through these in our order, and I will try and stick to the agenda. So to start off with, we've got my like everyday carry scrappy notebook. This is where we were last time, so Friday. It's working well in here. So this is quite a like boring space, quite a messy space, but I think sometimes that's the reality. Not everything is about the aesthetics. So I've seen, if you watched last week's video, I did a stock take of stuff for my art shop. So here's a little note there about the stock take. I pulled the sticker off the envelope from the printer and just used it as a bit of like a page divider here. Got Saturday's to-do list, Sundays, used a bit of washi as a divider here. Monday, I also put like appointments and important things in red at the top as well. I mentioned just about me going away at the weekend, so over the last couple of days I've started writing a packing list. I'm trying to pack light because I've got to take the train, and I struggle with the train and I get flustered, and I get more flustered if I've got a big heavy bag. So this list looks massive, but hopefully I'll be able to like fold stuff in such a way that it doesn't get too bulky. And then we've got yesterday and we've got today here. I was out for most of yesterday, so that list is fairly short, and I don't know why I didn't just overflow onto this next page, because this now looks quite messy, but I try not to get too hung up about it in this book, because it's really is just about practicality. Then moving to the A6, I've been keeping on top of my mood tracker pretty well. I had a couple of days where I think I forgot to do it, but that's because I was feeling quite rough, so at least I was able to remember why why that was, so then I knew which like box to cross off. The calendar page hasn't changed since last week. I think I said last week that I was going to do a little bit of decoration in these first couple of weeks, and then I've not gone on to do so. I've been sort of downstairs resting a bit more than up in my little office here the last couple of days, and I think that's probably why the books have not been forgotten about, but I'm not kind of in them as much as maybe I normally am during the week and during the day. So this is where we were in the A6 last time I spoke to you. It was on the Friday that I filmed. So through last week I decided that I would use my letter stamps that I got from Flying Tiger a good few years ago now to add the days of the week, and I really like the effect of having those written on there, so I think I'm going to continue in one way or another of having the day of the week at the tops of the pages. I've done it slightly differently the last couple of days, I'll show you that in a sec, but the ink pad is a nice way of doing it, definitely. On these couple of spreads I've done a bit of a collage in the middle here. I really like doing these, but because I'm in the A6 size I have to be very careful not to like get carried away and take up too much space. So the outline of these pages, at the very top I do a tarot card pull each morning. That's why I've got this here, and I just write a couple of notes, and then in the evening I will write out what I got up to that particular day. And normally the decoration will have some sort of link to that. So for example, the picture just here, it's one that I've pulled from Tumblr, I think. It's some photographs, an old school camera, bits and pieces like that, and I filmed on this day, so it links in with the fact that I filmed, even though it's not my image. I used a couple of bits from Killer Views here, because I had an order from them. I think that might have arrived on the Saturday. Yeah, sorry, not Saturday, the Thursday, because I've got the sticker here. I've got a Megan sticker here. I've got a couple of stickers, a couple of bits from different places. So this is a Tumblr image. The washi tape is Killer Views. The love hearts from Tiger, part of a big pack I got. And then the little paper clip, it might be a bit small for you to see, that is from Olive and Mabel. And then I've used some stamps again here. It might not be very clear, but it says 1111. I don't put like huge stock in angel numbers, but I find it interesting, and there's something about 1111 specifically that like I really sort of vibe with, and I always seem to spot when it's 11 minutes past 11 in the morning. I also did watched a horoscope video this day, and it talked about the 1111 portal, even though I watched it a few days after the 11th of November. So that was on my mind a lot, and I use this like bronzish ink pad that I had. I don't have numbers, but I have letters, so I just used the letter I for it and then the full stop. It's not the clearest, but I think just having the like metallic bronze colour there adds a little bit of something to that spread. And I've got a picture glued in here. When I finish reading a book, I put in a picture of it. Just gives me a good indication of how long it's taken me to read things. So for example, the previous one was Interview with a Vampire on the Tuesday. You won't see it because it's a thermal printer and it's not too clear, but the book that I'd finished was called Safeguarding Autistic Girls, and I also did a review of that that's in the Traveller's Notebook style insert. We've got Sunday and Monday here, so again we've got the like stamps for the days at the top. So although Monday is a new week, for me I prefer for like a spread to look symmetrical rather than having that like strict cut off at the end of one week and the beginning of the next. Decorations may be a bit more minimal here, but I like it. I like the colours and stuff. So the stickers here are all from Megan, and then this picture is one I pulled from Pinterest, and we've got another Megan sticker here. And then these stars are from a Sticky Club set, the Halloween ones. And it's nice as well that like the themes and the colours and stuff are quite consistent across the pages. So on this one, I had quite a nice cosy day. I had some candles lit, which is why I've got the candles here. And I also had a parcel. Oh no, I didn't receive a parcel, I packed parcels. So I had a few shop orders and I packed them up and then had them on collected on the Monday. And then on Monday, I read the little book of Hugo, and I think the author is Mike Viking. I might be pronouncing his surname wrong. It's a W, but I think in Danish you like pronounce W's as V's. I don't know where I've picked that up, and I could be way off, but I'll put the cover up. It's a book I've read 3 or 4 times now, maybe. It's a very like quick, easy read, and it's just very cozy. And you know, it's all about hygge, so of course it's cozy. And so this picture for me felt like a hygge picture. It's a coffee shop, and there's like wood paneling, and it's misty outside, but there's a bit of a lamp glow going on. And then the kind of the stars as a garland kind of linked to that in my head. But then also this Megan sticker. I had therapy in the afternoon, and it was probably the most like difficult one I've had so far, and I was very sort of discombobulated afterwards, so that's what that represents. And then we're on to yesterday and today. So I mentioned I'm putting the days of the week, I've put the days of the week down, but rather than using my stamp this week, I've used some stickers. These are a set that I got from Flying Tiger a couple of months ago now, and I'm starting to run out of some of the letters, so the letters that relate to the days of the week. Like I think I'm out of E's, for example, now. So what I might do in the future is maybe try and do like a mix of different stickers, or maybe a mix of stickers and stamps. I'll maybe have a bit of an experiment with that and see how we get on. So yesterday, I went and met my sibling in the city closest to us, and it also snowed overnight, so everything felt very, well actually it was snowing for like most of the morning as well, but it felt again very cozy, very wintry all of a sudden, and yeah, very like calming as well. Like the sky was like that very like thick dense grey that you get when it's snowing, and it just kind of, although it's cold, it kind of felt like being wrapped up in a blanket. So decoration wise, I've got this stamped and sealed co sticker here. I went and grabbed a coffee before I met my sibling, and I had a tiramisu latte, and this coffee here, I think it's probably a cappuccino, but it had a very similar vibe, you know, with the chocolate on the top, and it was very comforting and warming. Got just a generic star sticker here. We've got a mitten sticker here from Megan. I think this is her winter set last year, because I had to wear my gloves. And then we've got this little sort of Christmas garland. You know, we're getting a bit of festive stuff creeping in, because my sibling and I did a bit of, I've bought gifts for people. I'm sorted on that front, but I bought a couple of decorations from second-hand shops, and my sibling bought some gifts. So yeah, we're having a little bit of twinkle, a bit of festiveness. I think for some people it's a bit early, but I've seen a lot of people sort of decorating their homes and things. I think with everything rubbish going on at the minute, people are seeking out those sources of like comfort and nostalgia, so it makes sense. And then we've got a picture here. This is from my local park. By the time I was heading for the bus stop, a fair bit of the snow near me had melted, but there's some fir trees and they still had the like frosting of snow, and it looked like a Christmas card. So that's I took a few pictures that day, but this was the one I decided to keep in as like a symbol of the day. And then on today's entry, we've just got the little bit of tarot information that I've written in here, and I've laid down some stickers for the next few days. With me being away over the weekend, probably later on, I might decorate for the week in advance. I don't typically do that, but it will minimise how much stuff I take with me when I go away, which has got the bonus of helping me cope on the train and stuff. But then also, like, I can just write the entries on the evening, so I don't really have to think. And then I suppose, just as a slight addition in here, oh yeah, I've got a couple. I had that order from Killer Views last week, and I didn't mention this, but on my like invoice, my name had been written, and it looks quite cute, so I've just stuck this in the front here. And then also, like separate to sort of journaling stuff, I had an order come from a shop called Rinwed, and Rinwed, I think it I think it translates to virtue. It's a Welsh word, and it's a small brand from Swansea, and I've shopped there from them a few times, and they do like, it's like organic cotton clothing items, and it's a little Welsh brand, and unfortunately they're having to shut down, so I grabbed a few t-shirts from them and a really nice big black hoodie, and they sent a couple of these stickers along. Normally I wouldn't go for anything like super like colourful in here, but it's quite sort of stimmy with the shimmer here, and because there's not anything else in here currently, it doesn't feel like too full on. And yeah, all their stuff is like tattoo culture inspired, so I really like this panther. It's the sort of thing that I would get as a sticker, like even if it was unbranded. So yeah, I've got one in the front here, and then I've just like loosely tucked this one in here and used some tape just to secure it a bit. So that's looking cute. And then the last of my books to look at is just the Traveller's Notebook size one. So you can ignore this basically because it's pretty consistent. Stray came out on the Switch yesterday. My partner and I think are gonna go in on it together, and both of us will then have it to play. Got my calendar page here, which I use for my like reading tracking, and we've also got I've got a tracker at the side here for what types of media I have engaged with each day. So we can see here through last week I read that safeguarding book. Didn't read anything on Sunday, but then on Monday I read The Little Book of Hugo. I've put a sticker down that is a woven heart. This is a set from a set that I got from Tiger, and the woven heart is like a traditional Danish Christmas decoration, like a paper craft thing. And I think Tiger is a Danish brand originally, so it made sense that they've done the woven heart stickers, and they get spoken about a little bit in the book. So I've just put that down, and then, you know, been updating my tracker. I've not really played any video games this month at all. I played, I think, a bit of Mario Kart on the 1st. I might play some Assassin's Creed later on today or tomorrow. We've got my habit tracking here. I've been relatively okay keeping on top of things, I think. We've got a few blanks here, but it's really helpful seeing it as a monthly overview, definitely. It kind of surprises me that I've only had like one nap this month. I go through ebbs and flows. My fatigue levels are always pretty rough, put it that way. But usually I think I do try and like push through that slump, even if I'll rest, but I won't necessarily sleep. And then we're on to the weekly spread. And I've done it a little bit different this week. Last week I was using this for tracking like health symptoms, which I'd previously tracked when I was using the Filofax. I was finding it difficult to keep on top of it in here. So essentially I've kind of put that on pause this week. I've got an app that I use for tracking moods. I have one for tracking moods, and then I have another one that relates more to health stuff, so I'm using that this week. This week I decided to use it as a bit more of like a traditional weekly spread, because I had a couple of appointments. I've got my train journeys across the weekend, and then I also just thought it was a good like overview. So last week, for instance, I felt that I was lacking a weekly overview, and I drew one in here. So I drew one up, and as I was sort of doing my like prep or setup or whatever for this week, I thought to myself, actually that was probably you know, a bit of a daft thing. I didn't really need to do it because I've got a layout here ready for me. So I did my normal things that I want to make sure I do at least once in the week, my watching, reading, etc., that I update as time goes on. So for example, reading, I've put my Hugo book here. Watching, I've mostly been watching YouTube videos this week so far, listening to Tom Rosenthal, Phoebe Bridges, and then yeah, my kind of main things I want to get done, and the appointments and you know, train times and stuff like that. And then if we look at the commonplace section, I've done a bit in here, not masses. So we had my interview with the vampire stuff. Yeah, okay, I think this is where we were. So I think last time I showed you the Killer Views tapes. So the next bit is the tarot reading and sort of horoscope for Virgo from Chris Corsini. He's on Instagram. I think I might have mentioned his stuff a few times because I tend to try and commonplace my notes from those readings each month. And he does it in English, but then he also is doing ASL at the same time. So got my notes on this. I've used a couple of my Killer Views stickers. Got these candles as well. These are from the Sticky Club Halloween set that I got a few weeks ago. So more of those notes, and this is one of the Sticky Club ones as well. Then I've also got some information about the November full moon here from Lida Pavlova Magic on Instagram. Another Killer Views sticker here. We've got a picture here that I pulled from the internet. So the full moon, the kind of themes of it are very much about slowing down, rest, spending time with family and pets and that sort of thing. So this is like a bedside table with a magazine on it and a drink, and it just was a good image to kind of symbolise that rest and that slowing down. So I have added that in. The little stars from Megan. This is a Killer Views one as well. A couple more here. So we've got this teapot. So again, talking about like that slowing down, relaxing. Teapots and having coffee and things is symbolic of that for me. And this is a Morin Kunst one. We've got these brown flowers from Marigo Nasuli. And then we've got another Kill of Views one here, and it's the High Priestess, and the High Priestess card is actually linked to this full moon. So here, for example, the sort of tarot prompt was to find the High Priestess and interpret the cards either side of her. And then we've got just like a generic star sticker here. And then the next bit we've got is my review of the Safeguarding Autistic Girls book that I read. And another Kill of You sticker here. I've used this, the book doesn't talk about mushrooms or mycology at all, but when I've done my various readings about mycology and mushrooms, there are a lot of themes about like diversity and also the idea of like growth and communication that you can't always see, and a lot happening under the Earth's surface. So I always take like kind of like that symbolism from them. So that's that in here. So not masses this week. Yeah, I'm on page like 19 out of 30. So what happens some months is that I fill out this, and then I've got an overflow commonplace book, and what's it, the 20th today, something like that. So I don't imagine I'm going to have to need to do that this month. So that's where we are really. That's where we are with my books. So that's the books for this week. Hopefully I'm going to have some nice pictures and things from the trip that I go on this weekend. So next week in the A6, more likely than not, there'll be some cute pictures from that. Now we'll move on to the stim box part. There might be a bit of an adjustment of like light and angle and things like that, just because I need to figure out the best way to capture everything. So next we've got the portion of the video that's talking about my stim box, or could also be called like an autistic first aid kit. So this crate is something that I keep in my office, although I've been thinking lately it might be helpful for me to take it downstairs when I'm downstairs on an evening. And I keep in here things that are like stimulating / soothing for me. So I'll put a bit of a definition on the screen about what stimming means, because it's a term that's come up like within the autistic community, but I think sometimes isn't 100% clear for someone hearing it for the first time. But I feel like I will do a rubbish job of describing it. So growing up, I didn't know that I was autistic, and I kind of unconsciously was always drawn to things that would be soothing in some way in terms of my home environment. So around my house, I would say that I have objects or artwork or whatever it might be that I would now consider to be a stimmy thing or a regulating thing. So, you know, big fan of soft fluffy blankets. The lamps we have and like how we light the house is very much about like it accommodating my needs essentially. But for a long time I was just doing it because it was like, well, this is just nice. I didn't realise just like how deep it went. And also growing up, you know, I and a number of people that I've known over the years have struggled with their mental health. And one friend in particular, she had like a first aid kit kind of thing that she put together as part of her, some therapy that she went through. And that inspired me a bit. And I think my first sort of version of that was based off that. And then a few years ago now, I think it was, I watched a video from Megan of Megan Rhiannon talking through her stim box. And that really, I didn't know I was autistic even then, but that really propelled me to think, well, actually, even if I'm not autistic, if I think something's going to be helpful and it's not going to harm anyone or get in anyone's way, why not do it? So it's been kind of an evolving thing since then. And I would always try and make sure that I have a couple of stims at my work desk when I was working in an office. And I usually try and keep some in my like everyday carry bag as well, because then if I forget to grab something from here, at least I've got something. So with that being said, a couple of bits and pieces are downstairs, a couple of bits and pieces are in my bag, I think. But I thought I'd just do it in a very like organic way to say, this is what is in this box at the moment. I did also used to include in this box things like paracetamol and more like pain related things, but those are now in a separate drawer on my desk. I showed you that, I think, as part of the desk tour. I also have things like a really weighted sleeping hoodie and things like that. But yeah, this is just like the handy stuff that I keep in this crate. The first thing, I've been using it in today's video, is this Nido cube. I think there's quite a bit of like hype about these online at the moment. I don't know if they're like sponsoring people or collaborating with them, but I was influenced, I guess, and I picked one up. I'm not sponsored in any way, but I picked one up, and a lot of the time, squishy stims like this and things made of this material, I actually often have sensory problems with. And to be honest with you, sometimes I do get that with this. Sometimes, yeah, I'm starting to get it now because I've been faffing with it a lot. I get this kind of like, it's not drying my skin out, but like I can feel that I've been handling it. So like after this video, I'm probably going to end up sort of washing my hands and things like that. But of toys or tools rather that do this has definitely been the best one I've had. I'll just take a slight sidestep out there because of the way I spoke. So the language around STEM tools is kind of a topic I always find quite interesting. So for ages I've heard people use, and probably have used myself, the term STEM toy, but then I'm an adult and there's nothing wrong with adults having toys, but I've also seen some critique online saying, well, actually it's not a toy, it's not something frivolous. This is a tool, it's something that helps me regulate, and that struck a chord with me because that's my reality. It's not something that is frivolous, and if it was taken away from me I would struggle a lot more. So I try and use the word tool, STEM tool, but now and again I'll have like just a bit of a slip of the tongue and call it a toy. So just as a bit of like a disclaimer for that. So yeah, we got the cube. Next on my noise cancelling headphones. For a long time I didn't have any sort of ear defenders or anything like that. I'm still potentially thinking about getting some ear defenders, just because I think in certain environments, if you're wearing ear defenders, this might be a completely wrong perception, but ear defenders in some environments might come off better than wearing headphones. So I'm trying to unmask and I'm trying to just be very like assertive with what my needs are and stuff. But there is this like general impression that I get that if you wear headphones, sometimes people just think that you're being like rude or ignorant if you then struggle to communicate, because maybe they think that you're listening to loud music or something. Whereas if I'm in a shop or something and I am interacting with someone at a checkout, I will turn off whatever I've been listening to, if I've been listening to anything. But I will struggle to communicate still, because that's just how I am. And sometimes I think or wonder, actually, if they saw that I was wearing ear defenders as opposed to headphones, would they get it and click a bit more? So that's something I'm considering. But in terms of comfort and stuff like that, I really recommend these. I wear glasses, and I used to really struggle with over the head headphones because of like the pushing in feeling, and I'd end up it would feel like it would push the arms of my glasses into the sides of my head, and so then I'd have like sensory issues from it. I would say the only thing I have as a negative with these is I struggle with my temperature regulation, and if I wear these on like a warmer day, or if I'm say cleaning the house, then I get quite like sweaty around my ears and head, like that part, the side of your head. That's the only downside for me, but then it's easy to clean and wipe, so it's always I always feel like I'm being pulled in two directions. These are great from a noise point of view, but then if I get sweaty, the sensory experience of that is something that I really struggle with. So colder days or days when I'm resting or both, that's when these really come into their own for me. Another item that if you regularly watch my videos that you'll see me using a lot, I would say if I could only have like one thing out of this box, it would be my slinky. This one is from the Science Museum. The text is basically worn off now because I use it so much. And I've tried other slinkies in the past, and this is the one that I get on best with by far. Literally to the point where if this like truly broke, I would be thinking like I need to order it from the Science Museum website if I can, or be like asking my friends from London, can you go to the Science Museum and post it to me, because I would really struggle to use any other kind of slinky, and this is my go-to stim. Like this will be the one that I have on me 9 times out of 10. I have broken it in the past, so it's quite common with slinkies that after a while they'll kind of like twist in on themselves and then you can't untangle it. What I've done is I've just taken it to the point where it starts getting tangled and then cut it with a pair of scissors. So over time it's getting shorter and shorter, but it's still functional. And I think what's nice as well with this, so I use it in lots of different ways and touch it in different ways. That sounds weird. So it's like good from a fidget point of view. I like how it feels, you know, you've got all the little ridges and there's different noises you can make and different things like that. But then also one thing that I really like doing visually, I don't know if it will show up on camera, but it's going like that, and it's kind of like you see the colours sort of waving. So sometimes I'll do that as well. And although like it's wide sort of, because it flattens, it generally like fits in a pocket quite well, so I'll take it out and about with me. This is my go-to one. This next bit I'm not going to show you too much because there's like personal pictures in here, but it's a photo album of my Instax pictures. Let's see if there's any that are a little bit more. Okay, that's got people in. Okay, so here's an example of some Instax pictures that don't have people in. These are from a trip to Wales that my partner and I took. This booklet is actually a Muji business card holder, but it just happens to be the perfect size for Instax images. So I picked that up, I think a few months ago now. My Instax pictures before that were all just kind of floating around in different notebooks and that kind of thing. So this isn't like stimmy as such, but there's a lot of nice memories in here, and pictures with loved ones. So this one is more for like if I'm feeling down, it's good to look at and kind of reminisce a bit. Okay, next. So the next thing is this Jellycat Dragon. Do you know what? I've not stimmed with this for a while, and just like touching it now, I'm like, oh god, I miss this. So yeah, it's cute. It's black and glittery. This soft texture is my favourite part, like stroking its belly. But then also on the wings and the scales and the ears is this like rougher texture. So sometimes, it's not very common, but sometimes I'll want that like rough feedback instead of the soft. So it's nice to have the two options. Is that the only one? Yeah, okay. So got a tangle here. I've got a couple of these around the house. A lot of people use these. This is one that I kind of Frankensteined myself. So I had a black one and I had an orange one, and then I've just pieced them together. But also what's nice about this with the black and the orange, and I've got some that are like black, orange and grey, is like it kind of links to one of my special interests of Halloween as well. These are like peak Halloween colours. So if I don't, usually in terms of being like out and about, usually if I've not got my slinky, I'll have a tangle of some sort. You know, they're arguably more like quote unquote discreet, albeit sometimes the noise of them and the squeakiness really irritates me. So yeah, if I've not got a slinky on me, normally I'll have a tangle. Along the same lines as the tangle, I've got these. So this is like a beaded, I can actually wear it as a necklace, it fits over my head. A beaded, I suppose, charm I'd call it, that I made. And I went with a similar vibe, you know, in terms of the colours. So we've got a lot of black and orange here. We've got a couple of bits of purple. And I have made a few like bracelets and things for myself over the last few months. But what I was finding is that if I've got jewellery, I really hate the feeling of like these sort of ridges sticking in. So I had a few beads and a few like accessories that were just far too bulky for what I wanted on those. So I thought, actually, for fidgeting with, it's perfect. Like I like having the option to run my finger across those ridges, but I'd hate for those ridges to be sticking into my wrist. So I've got a few different textures and things like that going on here. Like there's these ones that have more of like a rubbery texture, and that I can just do that with. And then the schools as well, they like roll, and you can kind of, you know, you can feel the eye sockets and stuff. So that's a nice fun one. And again, I'd say probably like more discreet even than that. And what I will tend to do is like double that up on my wrist and kind of have it as a very loose bracelet, but then I can just roll it into my hand. So that way, like if I'm in a shop or something and then I want to pick something up, I can just do that, and my hands are suddenly free. So that's good fun. And this is one I think I got from We Are Unmasked, which is like a more, like it's got these sort of, it goes to these like square blocky shapes. So texture wise, they feel quite fun, and usually I'll just do that with them. So I've seen people use them like this as well. This is one I probably wouldn't say I use loads, but if I can't find one of my tangles, this is a good go-to. And I quite like that there's a bit of like pushback with these. Oh yeah, okay. So next I've got a liquid timer. I never knew what the word was for these, and my siblings and I used to stim with these a lot. So we used to, our grandparents had a caravan in Wales, and I think they bought a couple of these just from like one of the like discount shops up there, and we'd just be absolutely mesmerised by them. You know, we didn't know I was autistic, and I'm not going to talk about my family health on here, but like I think they'd both be quite comfortable with me saying that they're probably neurodivergent in some way as well. So yeah, we absolutely love these things, and I used to miss having access to one of these. I don't know what happened to the ones at the Caravan. And then I saw someone else online had one, and they used the term for it, and it was like a light bulb moment. It was like, great, I can access that now, I can get one. Next up is this little ghost light. It's quite bright today, so you might not be able to see the light, but here we go. So that one's mostly for like a visual stim, and in the dark it's really like there's a ring of light kind of thing that happens around it. Another one that relates to special interests, so you know, they're sort of Halloween stuff, but I also have quite a collection of like ghost ornaments and things now. So if this ghost isn't in this crate, then it'll be on the shelf which is just above it that has my ghost collection on. I also actually really like the sound of the motor on this, so it's quite an auditory thing for me. Like that. It will probably annoy some people, but I like it. Next is a tub of bubbles. It's weird, these probably like don't live in here. I wouldn't blow bubbles inside because I don't want that like film getting on stuff. But I love the iridescent colours that you get when you blow bubbles. So this is here for like in the summertime when I can go outside and blow some bubbles. I've got a fan for helping to regulate my temperature. This might be worth me keeping in my bag actually, because 9 times out of 10 if I'm struggling to regulate my temperature, it'll be if I'm out in public somewhere. Particularly, you know, in the autumn and the winter time, you know, you need to wear layers outside in the UK, usually. But then the second you go into a shop or a cafe, it's like room temperature. going in and out of those environments is really difficult. So I might move this to my bag shortly. But this is good to have in my office during the summer months because it'll still sometimes be too hot in here. The next thing I've got in here is some communication cards. So most of the time I can talk, but sometimes I can't. It feels weird like talking about this as openly as I am. Sometimes I can't, and sometimes it means then I can't have my like basic needs met, like food, drink. And so what I decided to do, there's lots of people online that sell communication cards, but I wanted to have some that are like kind of suited to my vibe and my aesthetic a bit more. And it was just then like a fun like art illustration thing to do, to just sort of design my own. I might refine these a bit and make them available as printables in my shop, but they feel very personal in the minute, so I don't have any direct plans to do that, but I might do it at some point. So it's covering things like I need a drink, and I've got a picture of what used to be my favourite mug. I accidentally smashed this a few weeks ago and was quite upset. So I need a drink. I need to eat on this one. I need some space, so I've done some like paper aeroplanes for that. I'm upset about something. I need to stim, and you know, my tangle that I just showed you before. I need to leave with a picture of a ghost. It's hard to speak. I also used a ghost for that one because I just didn't know how else to really articulate that. I need quiet space or time with my earphones drawn there. So you get the gist. So I've got these in this like kind of bigger size here. And I keep them in here because if I'm struggling to talk, then I can like show this to my partner, whichever one's relevant. And then she'll kind of have that as a cue to know how to respond to it. To be honest, more often than not, if I can't talk, I will send her a WhatsApp message. And I also have an AAC app on my phone now. But it was kind of nice to design them. But also, if you know I couldn't get on my computer, I couldn't get on my phone for some reason, then I've got something physical to show her. I also have a slightly smaller copy of these that I keep in my bag. Again, if I lost my speech and I was in public somewhere, I usually would be able to like leave, usually. But if not, I've got WhatsApp and I've got the AAC app as well. So it's kind of like a backup. If nothing, like if all else fails, I've got that to show someone. And kind of connected to that, I've got a sunflower lanyard in here, and it's one of the Breakaway ones. I've got a different one that's in my bag, but sometimes I lose stuff. So I figured if ever I lost my sunflower lanyard, I've got a backup. But also I've got the Breakaway one because during meltdowns, I struggle with a sensory feeling of anything too tight around my neck anyway. But during breakdowns, sometimes I will like pull at my shirt and things. So to avoid a feeling of feeling strangled, if I needed to pull this off, I can just pull it off. Which is probably the kind of situation it's designed for. So, you know, that's that doing its job. Generally speaking, I've been using the regular one, but if I needed to switch over to this one, then it's here for me to grab before I go somewhere. So, like if I'm going somewhere and I think it's going to be particularly difficult, then I'll switch to this one. I've got a couple of smaller fidget things here. So this one, I can't remember who I got this from. This was from someone on Etsy who makes like cute looking stems. So here I've got the ridges, but then the main thing that I'll do with this is clicking it, so like that, or rolling it rather. So this one I don't use loads, but this is a really good one for like in a pocket if you're trying to be a bit more like discreet, although it is a bit noisy. I've got a fidget cube here. So these are, you know, quite popular. I saw them actually in a B&M shop recently, so increasingly a bit more like affordable. And this has loads of different like textures and input that you can use. And again, it's a nice small one. I like the light switch one. a nice small one, you know, in the same way. So generally, you know, I'll have my slinky, or I might have, whoops, I'll have my slinky generally, or a tangle. But if maybe I've got smaller pockets or no pockets, then these are good alternatives. For example, I don't go to music gigs often for various reasons. But if I was going somewhere that was like a venue that didn't allow bags, and I just had to keep something in a pocket, these are probably quite good options for that. And similarly, I've got a fidget spinner here, so the classic. And this is a metal one as well, so it makes this nice sort of ringing sound. A lot of people probably wouldn't like that sound, but I do. But also, I got it in this like oil slick colourway, because then visually I feel like it looks really nice while it's spinning. And I sometimes just like moving it like that and hearing how the sound changes. Like it's a little bit like the Doppler effect when you spin like that. I've got a selenite worry stone here. So one of my sort of special interests is like tarot, horoscopes, but then also that kind of expands a little bit into crystals. It's a weird one. I don't like fully commit and believe in everything, but I find it very interesting and like quite soothing a lot of the time. So I picked this up a few years ago. Again, I think this was actually when I picked it up before I knew I was autistic. And this one I would use a lot at work. And it's again like a quite subtle stem. But also it would look quite pretty on my desk, and the light reflects on it really nicely. I've got a couple of things here that help with like sensory issues. So this is a hand and body lotion, this is a lip balm, and then this is a Glossier lip balm. Having dry lips is like the bane of my existence. I can't describe how much I like struggle with it, and I will always have at least 2 lip balms on me, because if I leave the house and I don't have a lip balm, and then I you know, have dry lips, that's like the easiest way to have a meltdown. So yeah, you know, the fact that I've got 2 in here, but then I've literally got another one just here. I could probably put my hand on 7 or 8 tubs of lip balm without getting up. So yeah, we've got my Glossier one. And then this one is from the Haunts Curiosity Shop. So is the hand lotion. Again, dry skin and dry hands is a fast track for me having a meltdown. Luckily, I've got quite like oily skin, which having oily skin is a bit of a pain in itself, but I'd much rather not have to deal with the dryness constantly. And then lastly is my most recent sort of acquisition. Now I won't be explicit because I do monetize my videos now and I've got to be careful. So a lot of these stims here will be for situations where I recognise I need that support or that input, and I'll be able to pick it up and go, right. Sometimes you'll see in videos, you know, I'll maybe be struggling to speak about something or feel a bit awkward or whatever it is, need to keep my hands busy, and I'll pick up the slinky, I'll pick up the Nido, which is buried now. But unconsciously, the biggest thing I do to stim is, I don't know how explicit I can be. It will involve some sort of self-injury. So it can be incredibly mild, might be scratching, might be, you know, quite a common thing, you know, some people will pick at their nails, that kind of thing. But depending on the situation and how bad I feel, it can escalate. And so having something for like a pain-seeking stim, and also it's metal, because I'm always I've shown you like what feels like a bunch of stuff and a lot of it's plastic, but in my back of my head I'm always conscious about plastic use, and I do experience like quite a lot of guilt around it. So being able to find something that's metal as well instead of plastic. So yeah, anyway, I feel like I've really got distracted, and it has been really good for that pain-seeking inclination that I have. So yeah, it's an acupuncture thing. I got mine from a website that does the acupuncture mats that you lay down on, and then they sell this as like an accessory. And I don't know what it like. It's good from like you're being jabbed, like you can see the little dots on my fingers. But there's something about it as well that you know, when people experience ASMR and they talk about like their brain being tickled, or like something being like something in their brain being like massaged in such a way. I never really experienced that from ASMR. I never liked it, but something about this, particularly when it's going over this part of the finger, it just feels like really soothing and really comforting. I'm going to put all this away and tidy up and then sign off, I think. Okay, so that's everything in my stim box. I feel like that's been like quite an open and vulnerable video. So please, please be nice. I think I've only ever received like 1 or 2 comments that are a bit dodgy, so I'm sure everyone will be nice. If there's any products that you want me to help describe better for you so you can find them online, because that's something I find tricky sometimes, then just let me know, or anything you want more clarity on or for me to elaborate on. Again, I think it'd be nice to be able to help one another a bit with these sorts of things. And like I'm awaiting an appointment with an occupational therapist, so I'm very much like doing things DIY at the minute, and I think a lot of people are in a similar position. So yeah, that's everything in there. That was my books for the week as well in that first portion, and I'm going to include a what's in my bag in next week's video. So thank you for watching. I'll see you next week. Bye bye.